Many of you might not know that there has been an identity theft when it comes to Jesus, the human Son of God. So verses like John 17, verse 5, and John 12:41 have been used through the millennia to teach that Jesus, the Son of God, somehow pre-existed his virgin birth as detailed by the Gospel of Matthew and Luke. Now you'll find various beliefs that range from the Son pre-existing as God the Son, the so-called second person of a three-in-one God, or that he pre-existed as a little g God, some sort of divine being, or as an angel. But the view that makes the most biblical sense has been called an ideal pre-existence. The Son of God was in God's purpose or plan as a fait accompli, for example. The Son embodies the new Israel of God spoken about in the Old Testament, as well as the suffering servant found in Isaiah. So we note that in verses like John 17:5 and John 12:41, there's a thing called a prophetic past tense. So for example, in the Old Testament, you have verses like, I have given them this land. In Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. Matthew 25, come and inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Romans 8, to those who are called according to his purpose, God foreknew, predestined, called, justified, glorified. John 17, glory has come to me through them, says Jesus, and I have given them the glory that you gave me. Father, I want those you have given me to be with me where I am, and to see my glory, the glory you have given me, because you loved me before the creation of the world. Events that obviously have not taken place yet, like Abraham and his seed getting the land, or Christians today inheriting the kingdom, but these things in God's mind, in God's plan, as we saw, have already taken place. You have Isaiah 4, in that day the branch of Yahweh shall be beautiful and glorious. Isaiah 49, and now thus says the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his own servant, to gather Jacob to him and Israel. I shall be gathered and glorified before the Lord, and my God shall be my strength. Isaiah 52, behold, my servant shall understand and be exalted and greatly glorified. You will amaze many, and your glory shall not be honored by others. So you see here again that the servant, originally understood to be the nation of Israel, will be given glory by the God of Israel. So the focus of the prophecy is in the glory, not so much for a literal pre-existing person, let alone the Son of God. But what about Isaiah 6, where God calls Isaiah to be a prophet, and he records that Isaiah saw the Lord sitting on a very high and wonderful throne, and his glory fills the whole earth. And in the vision he says, I have seen the King, the Lord, all-powerful. Now, John 12 alludes to this vision, but the focus of John 12, if you go back and read it in the context of it, is once again about the glory of Yahweh that now the writer of John sees in his Son, the Messiah. So John did not see some kind of a pre-human Yahweh Jesus that would make two Yahwehs, since God the Father is Yahweh. So John wrote, Isaiah said this, and then he cites from Isaiah 53 and Isaiah 6, but verse 10, because he saw his, that is Messiah's glory, and spoke of him. And once again, the figure here is of a human servant. And we know this because he's described as the branch of Yahweh, someone who fears Yahweh, who grows up like a young plant before Yahweh, and most importantly, bears the sins of all peoples, and Yahweh's will is to crush him, that is, cause him pain and suffering. To say that referring to some pre-existent God the Son, let alone Yahweh Jesus, would be blasphemous. But even if Isaiah saw the same glory, we know that this glory is shared with his human son, as Matthew says, for the Son of Man will come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and will judge all people according to their deeds. And again, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. And in turn is the glory of believers, those who are in the Father and in the Son, John later says in his letters. So we go back to this theme of foreknowledge, which contradicts a literal preexistence. So Isaiah was among many prophets who saw Messiah's glory, as 1 Peter 1 says. Concerning this salvation, the prophets sought and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that would come to you, investigating for whom or what time the Spirit of Messiah, which was in them, pointed to when it predicted the sufferings of Messiah and the glories that would follow them. And you can compare that with Jesus' statement in John 8, where he talks about Abraham, who rejoiced to see my day, and not literally his pre-existent person.